Alright, here's kind of a quick update. This video's not going to be very long, but at least it'll be something for now. A couple little things I've done to progress the project a little bit, and while I'm waiting to get it into shops, I'll show you what we got. Well, the one-piece aluminum drive shaft came in, so we're going to go ahead and attack that. I'm gonna have to drop down the exhaust again and slide it up in there. I also got a new seal for the yoke here that slides into the transmission. And get to it. Okay, so there was a lot of just rolling around tight quarters on the creeper, so I didn't really film much, or it made it pretty difficult to do so. But basically, I just took down the exhaust, unbolted the original drive shaft from where it meets up to the differential here, and was able to just slide it out and all the way out through this cross member here and everything, and then all the way up at the front, and it just slides out super easy. All the way up at the front there was a rubber O-ring. I think I have the old one up there, but it's just a rubber seal, so I pulled that. I had bought a brand new factory one. I pulled that out and pressed in the new one by hand and just like tapped it with a hammer. It's super easy too. And then fed this aluminum drive shaft up in there, and it just slid right in, and reinstalled these bolts and nuts. Got them about as tight as I could, and now this portion is complete. Super easy install. Just got to put the exhaust back on, and we are good to go. This is the transmission seal that I was talking about. That it's basically like, I mean, for me, I work on motorcycles, and it looks like a fork seal type of. It has a metal ring embedded in it, but it just pulls out and pushes in pretty easily. Here's the part number for that. It's an OEM part, or equal. At least this is the one that I got, and it was pretty easy to install. Okay, we'll go through everything that I can see anyway. So we got the header up here, test pipe with the resonator. There's like a spaced out CEL or O2 sensor so it doesn't throw codes. Going back to the X pipe with the resonator. And back to the exhaust cans. We've got all new suspension components. Every piece of the suspension has been replaced. All the arms, all the tie rods, all the connections. There is a spacer, obviously new transmission, new engine. There's a spacer on the oil pan, which I'm gonna have to go to the other side to show that, I guess, because I can't see it from here. We now have all one-piece aluminum drive shaft. And right here is a billet aluminum transmission mount with a new bushing. Excuse my loud wheels on my creeper. Back here we have a new blue, like, heavy-duty polyurethane bushings on the differential. And a new bushing here for the differential, and the added fourth support mount. The differential cover that is obviously thinned for more cooling capability and holds, I think, a liter more of oil. So it also helps keep it cool and lubricated. And I will go to the front. You can see under here. Better view of all the new suspension components. Here's the oil pan spacer. and then it has ports on it for the oil return lines once I get those hooked up. The intercooler piping is ran down to here currently. It needs to be plumbed up to where the front mount intercooler is going to end up at. The other one is right here. And that's everything from underneath for the moment. Coming out here, we got the Wilwood big brakes, control arms, coilovers. There's the supercharger. I got this material. It's for a 99 to 2010. I don't remember if it's a Ford or a Chevy dually. For the rear dually inner fender wells. I don't know exactly what kind of plastic it is, but if it's good for a dually fender well, I'm sure it would be great for this. So I'm gonna take some cardboard and make a template for the front inner fender wells, and then I'll transfer it onto that material and cut it out. And I'll try to show that process a little bit. Rydell was kind enough to let me borrow his LCD dash and instrument cluster. I took the original, so I'm using his to pre-fit it. Mine's supposed to be coming in the next few weeks here. So I removed this section of the original gauge. Don't need that anymore. Then I trimmed out a little bit right here. And I basically just notched out some sections so that I could get this gauge to sit down in there flush like that. It's flush here all the way around. And then I can put the original bezel and it will snap in. And then I can put this original metal brace here, hooks over the back, holds the top down, and then these bolts, or screws I guess, go back in on this bracket, and then it'll be all able to be bolted in like factory, using these 4 bolts on the bottom, so it'll be real stable. And I plan on using the original shroud here. I'm not 100% sure yet. I might have to modify the corners for these corners that stick out right here. Maybe, maybe not. I'm gonna have to take this off and try it. But if I can keep this complete, then I'm just gonna extend it back. And if not, then I'll modify this and like make the corners bulge out to accommodate these. And I had Tino do my gauge design and leaving this corner area blank, so it's not going to cut off any information. So it should be pretty cool. And here, I took out the original gauge and I've fitted the LCD gauge in there. I don't have a computer for it yet. I'm actually borrowing Rydell's display so that I can get that fit in there, and then I'm gonna make a sheet metal aluminum cover for it. And I've also borrowed that from Rydell to help make a template faster. That'll be an aluminum panel with bead rolling in it. I am gonna put my vent here. My other vent will be here, kind of the same plane as the, this will get extended over, have a vent here. And I'm not going to use those 2 vents, so basically this one and this one will be for the driver and passenger, like to blow at you, and then also like the floor ones are still there. And then up here I'm actually going to put 2 vents here and here, to use as defroster vents, because can't really do defroster vents all the way up here because this is actually like under the hood all the way up to here. So to do defroster vents, they'd either have to be in this section, but like I said, I'm just gonna go ahead and put them here, and I'm gonna use the round F-150 vents that you can change the angle of where they blow and just have them blow up at the windshield each direction. Because right below here is where the defrost coming out of the heater core comes straight up right there, so it'll be perfect to just go right up into those two vents. I did order Brahms seats. Those should be here in about probably 3 or 4 weeks maybe. And I'll show that when those arrive. One thing I did was under this rear hatch, I had previously used, I think they were 67-pound shocks, and they ended up not being strong enough after a while. And I removed the mounts that came with them, and I drilled and tapped the actual arms here, and then on the inside, of course I have those oil containers in the way. I used these OEM mounts that already had a hole in them and everything, so it's got the nut mounted behind there. So both sides, it's a very strong bracket that's mounted in several places that have bends in it. Front here, and these are 100-pound shocks. I'll put the part number for those, but they're definitely much stronger, and they hold it up really well. Like, you gotta give it a pretty good amount of force to close now, so that'll be a lot better for long term. Under here I got a polished coolant reservoir mounted here, and I got an aluminum power steering reservoir, but it did not come polished, so I have it at my metal fab shop, having them polish it so I can get that installed and have it kind of match.